Warning: Title 17 U.S. Code 512F provides penalties for the deliberate misrepresentation of copyright infringement. The owners and authors of this video, the Common Denominator, and the Paramystic Broadcast Channel are a nonprofit 501c3 exempt organization and believes in good faith that it constitutes educational fair use, as per Title 17 U.S.C. 107. Persons, agencies, attorneys, and/or social media algorithms filing a false or frivolous Digital Millennium Copyright Act complaint may be subject to civil liability. Warning: the following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Accordingly, viewer discretion is advised.
Happy hump day, everyone. As always, my pledge of allegiance to the constitutional sovereignty of the United States of America and to the republic for which that flag stands, one nation under Almighty God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I changed the words on that. I'm kind of wanting some feedback on it. Do you like I pledge my allegiance to the Constitution, or do you like I pledge my allegiance to the constitutional sovereignty of the United States of America? They're totally two different meanings. One's, of course, a document, and the other one is, of course, the allegiance to our freedoms and liberties in the pursuit of happiness, and what we are as free men in this country, free women, free people, we the people. And boy, I've had a great month. I'm going to say that. I've had a wonderful programs last night. Heath Gilbert, Dan Landy joined Richie King and Alan Reed on the WO Entertainment. If you get an opportunity, it's on the Common Denominator page. Great program. Richie and Alan, not only did they stay focused and nail the show, but Alan in particular, I mean, at least twice, maybe three times, he came up with some concepts, and Just Me / Dean, a friend of ours, he came up with a couple really good, well, one we call answers, solutions, or questions that we have to think about, and that's what we're having to do. We have to be able to critically think about the who's, what's, where, when, whys, so on and so forth. It's when we stop thinking. And I'm going to show you shortly, it's going to be my pleasure, by the way, to show you exactly how idiots, the useful idiots of our society are. It's amazing. I can't even begin to tell you. So, of course, as I always try to present, I try to give a good a quote. I try to look for the person that wrote this or said it. I looked on various different places. If any of you can possibly let me know what that is, that would be great. Hey, Kimberly, how's it going? What's going on, Ruth? I noticed you guys are saying hello, so I better say hi to you. But getting back to the quote, the seed you plant today will sprout tomorrow's memories. Think about that. The seed you plant today will sprout tomorrow's memories. And you know, that's so true, because it's what we're trying to do is, and we do this with our children, we do this with elderly people, we do this with everyone we meet, our people, our coworkers, whole nine yards. We try to plant something in their heads that hopefully will make them feel good about life, will make them feel good about themselves, will give them a memory a year from now, 2 years, 10 years, 15, unless they get elderly and possibly dementia or what have you. But, you know, they've got that memory. And that memory can never be taken away. In fact, sometimes I wonder if memories are, in fact, much more valuable, believe it or not, in my opinion, than gold. Because really, when you kick back and you're sitting in, say, underneath an umbrella, there's a soft, gentle rain, you're looking out on the ocean, and you kick back and you think to yourself of the times when, boom, you might have gone water rafting somewhere up in the Adirondacks of New York. You may have gone whitewater rafting down in the Colorado River. But what I'm getting at is, it's that memory. And sometimes those things are pretty priceless. You just can't. You can't say one's even greater or better. Let me rephrase that. Yes, some you can say one are better than others. So I put a piece on the Common Denominator page. I decided to print it out and read it. And why did I decide to do that? Because I'm setting this up for where we're going to be going shortly with the program. As always, the Lake Viking HOA never disappoints. It just never disappoints. I'll get to that group and a little mushroom capped individual as well. But I woke up and I had my morning coffee. I realized that everything is about to change. No matter how I vote, no matter what I say, something evil has invaded our nation. And our lives are never going to be the same. Guaranteed. I have been confused by the hostility of family and friends. I look at people I've known all my life. so hate-filled that they agree with opinions they would never express as their own. I think that I may well have entered the Twilight Zone. You can't justify this insanity. We have become a nation that has lost its collective mind. And that's very true. If a man pretends to be a woman, you are required to lie to yourself with him and others around you. Somehow it's un-American for the census to count how many Americans are in America. Russians influencing our elections are bad, but illegals voting in our elections are good. It was cool for Joe Biden to blackmail the president of Ukraine, but it's an impeachable offense if Donald Trump inquires about it. 20 is too young to drink a beer, but 18 is old enough to vote. People who have never owned slaves should pay slavery reparations to people who have never been slaves. The people who have never been to college should pay the debts of college students who took out huge loans for their degrees in their signatures. Immigrants with tuberculosis and polio are welcome, but you'd better be able to prove that your dog is vaccinated. Irish doctors and German engineers who want to immigrate to the U.S. must go through a rigorous vetting process. But any illiterate gangbangers who jump the southern fence as the invading illegal criminals that they are, they're welcomed. $5 billion for border security is too expensive, but $1.5 trillion for free health care is not. Let that marinate for a moment. If you cheat to get into college, you go to prison. But if you cheat to get into the country and you go to college, you get to go to college for free. People who say there is no such thing as gender are demanding a female president. We see other countries going socialist and collapsing, but it seems like a great plan to the United States of American people. Some people are held responsible for things that have happened before they were born, and other people are not held responsible for what they are doing right now. Killing a pregnant woman is a double homicide, but it's okay to have an abortion because that's not a life. Criminals are caught and released to hurt more people, but stopping them is bad because it's a violation of their rights. And pointing out all of this hypocrisy somehow makes us racists or conspiracy theorists. Nothing makes sense anymore. No values, no morals, no civility. And people are dying of a Chinese virus. But it's racist to refer to it as Chinese, even though it began in China. We are clearly living in an upside-down world where right is wrong and wrong is right. Where moral is immoral and immoral is moral. Where good is evil and evil is good. Where killing murderers is wrong, but killing innocent babies is right. Wake up, America. The great unsinkable ship, Titanic. America has hit an iceberg. It's taking on water, and it's sinking fast. The choice is yours to make, and what will it be? Time is short. Make your choice wisely. We need our country back. We need our country back. We have lost our country. A lot of people think that, well, we're really not all that bad off. You know, we're not exactly that bad off. I'm going to now start sharing some HOA news. I came across this article. Someone sent it to me. Gosh, I get so much good stuff. And actually, you know, today I just want to have a nice, relaxing, cruising day. I can't wait for the video presentation you guys are going to see. When we get to it, I'll tell you more about it, but it's a great, great video. Um, anyway, I live in an HOA, and you can't make this stuff up. So it bothers me when the HOAs bully people. In Mount Juliet, Tennessee, a disabled couple told News 2 that they feel trapped in their home after they said their HOA association made them take down their wheelchair ramp. It's a situation that has residents in the Juliet Creek area, Commons neighborhood, outraged. It's just hard to move, Nancy Hurst explained, saying she suffers from the rheumatic arthritis. Her motorized wheelchair and her husband Lyle are keys to her livelihood. He takes good care of me. He was just out there making my lunch, Nancy said. Lyle may not recall, but Nancy will be quick to tell you they've been married for 50 years. She's worth it, Lyle, who is a retired Vietnam veteran with the Army Commendation Medal, said with a laugh. However, he struggles himself getting around. He has balance problems and he's fallen a number of times, Nancy explains. It was a recent fall that drew attention to the couple's wheelchair ramp. Lyle tripped on the ramp, and when the policeman came to help him up, because I can't get him up, he saw that the wheelchair ramp was in disrepair. The next week, Mount Juliet Police Department's non-profit youth program funded and organized efforts to build the Hursts a new ramp. It was beautiful, Nancy said. However, a letter from the Century Management on behalf of the Cedar Creek Commons HOA soon followed. And a letter dated December 19th, 2022, said in part that the ramp was installed without permission and that it was blocking the sidewalk and a parking spot. The Hearst pointed out that the new ramp didn't take up much more space than the old one, which they had built 8 years ago without approval and never had any issues. They sent the board an application for approval on February 2nd, but instead, 2 weeks later, they received a follow-up letter telling the couple if it wasn't taken care of, their next step could include legal actions. That alarmed me. I didn't want to be put on a lien on in my house. So that's when Monday I had the ramp removed. It was very upsetting. I should never have let them badger me, but they did, said Nancy. The Hearsts are now without a ramp and say they feel violated and bullied. I am really angry because I got a bit of disability myself, and it's hard for us to get out and shop. It's set up for the disaster the way it is right now. The next time out the door could be the time, Lyle explained. Neighbors are now working to help the couple, outraged over the actions of this HOA. They have no heart. They should have sent somebody out here to talk to them to realize the situation, Judy Hoffman, who lives next to the Hearsts, told News 2. I mean, I don't understand how somebody could be that cruel. And I know business is business, but that's ridiculous. And it affected nobody except Lyle and Nancy. Neighbors have offered help, like picking up groceries and medications for Nancy and Lyle, but they want the HOA to put the ramp back up. An employee of the Century Management told News 2 the board is sensitive to the situation and that they did seek input from the association's attorney. Right away, I think to myself, and I do, the ADA should be involved in this. I think they have a very good a case against this management group, the American Disabilities Act, that they violated of these two elderly people. And think about it. Now they are basically at home. He's not driving as much. She's, of course, probably not driving at all. But just the idea for them to get out for a couple hours out of their home to do some shopping. I mean, this is where we're at, America. It makes me reflect on, by the way, another story that I heard where the HOA wanted to, quote, go into a man's home, wanted to find out exactly, and give me a moment, I'm going to have to stop this. I know it's coming up. And go into this man's home. And they wanted to count, believe it or not, they wanted to count how many guns he had. Another HOA wanted Trump flags removed from the property. And still another HOA wanted the American flag removed from a person's property. I'm going to tell you right now, we live in a free country. Not so. We're going to find out November 5th, or should I say November 6th. I think that'll be one of those nights where I probably will not be waking up. I'm sorry, Kimberly. I don't get what you're saying. Oh, I do get what you're saying, dear. And you know, it's just wrong. Now, I've got this situation going on with me. I'm not going to continue on about the school board for myself. I had a nice full of it last night. Again, WO Entertainment. Check out Heath and Dan, Richie King, and Alan Reed. They did a knock-up job, but I wanted to do a couple snips here and a couple clips there. And, well, let's just say I do have a mission here. So I'm going to let you know it's going to get a little raunchy, possibly. Julie, I hope you're not in here yet. Under the Bus, by the way, follow Under the Bus, their page. Mrs. Julie Ringer has a great page. But notice, this is not politically correct. Incorrect. We say Merry Christmas, one nation under God. We salute our flag and give thanks to our troops. If this offends you, leave. So, with that being said, I'm now going to show you some little signs. Facebook pictures. You guys can't believe this stuff. If you notice, I have 4 pending posts here on the Lake Viking official unfiltered group. I then took another picture. And if you see here in the center, and you can't really see it, but it says 7 posts pending. So, what did I do? I decided to get a little bit creative. With 7 posts pending, they actually kicked me off. Now, that means I have no idea of knowing whether roads are closed, whether electricity's out, water needs to be boiled. I'm privy to no information. This is where you get your news from, your daily news. And so they kicked me off, so I had a request to come back on again. And when I did, well, my language got a little bit colorful, folks. I'm going to read it to you, so if you're offended, oh well. I'm just reading it the way I wrote it. 5 pending posts. What the is wrong with you communist douchebags? I have pics showing the pending posts. Censorship. GFY. I'm sure you can figure out what I'm telling them to do. And you know, it's sad. It's really sad that they will not allow the residents on this lake to know what's going on in the Cameron community, in the Gallatin community, and on the lake itself. They don't like me. In fact, one guy, I don't know how he did it. He's a very close friend to a brother of mine. A friend of mine who's a brother has this idiot for a friend. And wait till you see this. If you look here, he's laughing at every single one of these posts. And these posts are supposed to let you know I'm a Republican. I'm paying attention to the news. I want to give you information. And this jackass, in just 2 minutes, Matt Rogers, writes laughter, 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 laughter when I went to go message him. You ready for this? The spineless creature blocked me immediately. So, Matthew Allen Roger, I know your address. I know your phone number. And believe me, when we get some illegal aliens down here that have invaded our country, I'm going to do what that cop up in Ohio did. I'm going to offer them your phone number and your house address. Then this way here, they can come live with you because you think this is such a ha-ha-ha joke. And if you don't think I'm capable of wanting to do that, you're so wrong. In fact, I do agree with this cop. If you see a person that has a sign, Harris Waltz, I'm going to tell you flat out, Take that address down, put it on Facebook, and get that message out to the illegal immigrants in the area that they are welcomed to go to that person's home. Those people want you in their homes. They want you in this country. So, Matt Rogers, I'm going to do my best to send you some illegals. I really am. Oh, I really am. Why? Because, well, you've got such a jovial nature about you. You know, folks, we got to take this stuff serious. So again, when I wrote this, by the way, 5 pending posts. What the is wrong with you, communist douchebags? I have pics showing post pending censorship. GFY. Now, that's pretty harsh. But I don't feel so bad. Want to know why? Read this one. The thing about smart motherfuckers is they sound like crazy motherfuckers to the dumb ass motherfuckers. So, Matt Robinson, or Matt Rogers, there you go. You're just a dumb ass motherfucker. Because you like to laugh about us smart motherfuckers. Yep, I don't even like using that word, but I had to. Why? Because it's written. You can read it, I know that. But to censor people is to stop communication. To censor people is to stop communication, is to allow for an overabundance of the wrong communication, which we are now seeing in our mass media. And in doing so, that propaganda machine is just doing nothing but plugging away and chugging away at the democratic machine, wanting to get it into the office and remain in power. And it's going to devastate this country. We cannot guarantee you, we cannot handle 4 more years of this. I am so hoping in months, second retirement, I can blow town and hopefully go somewhere that's not so flippin' batshit crazy. And we really do need to think about doing this. Oh, I see there's a comment up here. Hey, Miss Ruth. I left for a minute. There you go. There's good conversation flowing there. And I mean that. Thank you, gals and guys that are watching. So, I did a piece not long ago, believe it or not. Just on September the 10th, I had J.J. Carroll on. And on the 13th, he actually, believe it or not, he actually had a wonderful documentary that was presented to the public down in Greensville, Texas, I believe it is. And he turned around, and this is what was really cool about it. He turned around and has a trailer. So I'm going to be sharing this with you, and I want you to realize that this is just a 2-3 minute piece, but you're going to see that this is very factual, very true. So
I'm going to take you on a journey that's going to prove that Joe Biden and his administration are traitors and they have committed treason against America. I only have one question for you, but before I ask that question, I want to take you back in time. We're going to transport everyone back to January 19th, 2021, the day before Joe Biden takes office. And I'm going to stand before you and I'm going to say I came from the future 4 years from now, and I'm going to tell you what this man's going to do. First day in office, he is going to sign 94 executive orders to eviscerate every immigration policy Donald J. Trump has put into effect. He will take a border that was the most secure border in American history and turn it on its head. Within 4 years, Joe Biden will have arrested over 12 million people. 250,000 of them will be special interest aliens, which in other words, in layman's terms, terrorists. They will be arrested and released. Since the time he's become president in the 4 years, Joe Biden has created the world's largest child sex trafficking organization in modern history. He will have arrested and released over 500,000 unaccompanied alien children called UACs. Their ages are from infancy to 17 years old. They just released them to a nation that is the #1 consumer of child pornography. Connect the dots. Our government is destroying America from within. I will not stand by and allow it to happen. That's why I'm going to go to across the nation, and I'm going to show you the manifestation of this treason. You're going to see crime that you can't even fathom. You're going to see a degradation of the social benefits and welfare for American citizens being ripped from them and given to illegal aliens. You're going to see cities like Chicago, New York, Boston, Philadelphia, and you're going to see them divert tens of millions of dollars. City, they're going to divert almost $12 billion for illegal aliens. The city of Chicago has brought to its knees social welfare, murder, crime. You can imagine hundreds of millions of dollars for illegal aliens, and I don't care about my residents. They can all pound sand. We are living in a world where our government hates us, and I'm going to go on a journey, and I am going to prove it to you. And the question I have after all of this has been done, if everything I tell you is the truth, and it is, do you call Joe Biden a patriot or a traitor?
You know, it breaks my heart to have to show this stuff, but this is real. This is real time. Again, on September the 10th, just not even a full month ago, early in the month, JJ came on. And this is a real frontline individual. Every guest that I've had on through the past several years, again, this is not about me. I'm just blessed to have that beer and have that conversation and let them talk and give you guys some information. This is breaking our quote our country. Georgia had $2 million drug bust, a $200 million drug bust, and the rappers were arrested too. A ton of rappers. Now I remember hearing about this. Here goes is Vivek at a border just a day or so ago. Please, folks. These are people that are doing things. By the way, Kimberly, thank you so very much. And Ruth. Ruth, Kimberly, there's a handful of you. Tom Martz, you guys know who you are. You send me some great stuff. Dan Landy. But, you know, we need to pay attention. We need to get this message out. Again, like I said, FJB and KH2. Sounds like a chemical equation if you ask me. But, you know, sadly enough, we have got to get in front of this. If we have family, if we have friends, if people are saying, la, 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 I don't want to hear it, I have Trump derangement syndrome. Ask them this simple question. And I mean this. Ask them this simple question. Is it better for them? Is it better for them to waste their vote because of hatred of one man? Or to reconsider their vote for the love of their country and what they've lived in. Because our country's love should be way up higher. I keep getting phone calls and dogs wanting in and out. Oh gosh, the things we have to do in life, Ruth. Go let your puppy out. We won't be going too far into this, I'm sure, just yet. But, you know, it's very sad. It's breaking all of our hearts, and we all know what's going on. We're not stupid people. We're not. We've got to realize that this is truly the most important election of our lives, because the civil war that's going to come out, either which way it goes, and it is going to be civil chaos nationwide, north and south, east to west. And basically around more of the democratic cities, and then it's going to spread like wildfire. Why do I say it's going to spread like wildfire throughout the rest of the states? From the St. Louis and Kansas City and Columbia, it's clear on up and clear on south of Missouri, for instance. It's because people are that batshit crazy unhinged. It's because people have that mindset of thinking. I just had a piece about a year and a half ago I read. I looked for it the other day, and I'm going to have to bring it back up. But really, it was a plan. It was an actually well written out plan saying that if we go up 4 in a car, we've got 20 cars. That's 80 people going into one little town. We can burn, loot, rob, create so much chaos. The cops would be so busy trying to put out the fires and the volunteer fire departments, and the sheriffs would have to be crossing basically county lines to give assistance. They could be in and out at no time at all and disrupting the whole complete town in a blink of an eye. Yeah, you heard me right. I actually did read a libtard video on this. A piece on this. It's disgusting the way they think. Now, I will tell you, we've got a few things going for us, folks. You do the Diddy list is actually the Epstein list all in one. You know what? He's going to make the P.P. Diddler is going to make Jeffrey Epstein list look like altar boys and girls going into communion for the first time. Seriously. 3 CEOs of major record companies, 3 have resigned. Kevin Hart has closed every one of his restaurants nationwide. If you were even in a video with P.P. Diddler and you end up in just your skivvies, you're going to prison for a long time. Whether you want to believe it or not, you're going to go to prison. And it's going to not be a good time for you. I'm quite certain of that. You know, to have all that power, to know, have that prestige, to know those kind of people, and they are doing nothing but eating themselves. You know, we do need to think about this and think about this hard. There's a Trump parade in Cameron on October the 12th, starting at 5, starting at the Passion Church. Please, Cameron, come to it. Lake Viking people, come to it. Gallatin people, come from all over. Enjoy a good, fun, wholesome party of people that have common sense, that fear God, that love their families, that like their firearms, that like their trucks, their flags, that like their jobs, that like providing for their families. We're a rare breed and we're a dying breed. Oh, we may think we've got this town cinched up or that town cinched up and so on and so forth. But again, all I have to do is say, look at this bozo that this Matt Rogers spent 2 minutes and finally 8 minutes later, he found me on another site and he has to laugh at the fact that I'm trying to inform people about the realities of where we're at. I don't want to give you fear. Oh, hell no. You've got nothing to fear. You carry a gun? You have a gun? I've got one. It's called self-protection. No problem. I've got several. And I'll use them. On my property, I'll use them. But rest assured, on someone like his property, Matt Rogers, send all the illegals you want. He obviously likes the Biden family, the White House administration, the Kamala Queen to be. But on the other side, we do have to start putting down some parameters. We really, truly do. Because one more time, I'm going to show it. The thing about smart motherfuckers is they sound like crazy motherfuckers to dumb motherfuckers. And that was the reason why Lake Viking put this post and let this go through and is on their page. Because they want me to be the nutcase. But in reality, I have reasons to be upset. Look there. 7 posts, pending posts. 7 posts would not inform the people of what's going on. And I've even let the people here at the HOA, BOD, I've let people know on the Facebook pages, I was willing, keyword, for over a year, I have been willing to put the video recording and streaming our BOD meetings live on a second Sunday of every month, live. And they don't want to do it because they don't want to be caught in their lies. Jeff Ferguson had to resign. And why did he have to resign? Well, there were a plethora of things, but apparently he resigned so that they wouldn't bring criminal charges against him for stealing our lot due money in filling up his gas tank with a credit card that belonged to the Lake Viking staff. Thousands of dollars in gas. And the new guy, Brian Holcomb, I think I like him. I think I do. He's a state trooper. I've always said state trooper, a retired state trooper. I've always said state troopers are like the Knights of the Round Table. If anyone has ever read, oh my goodness, Lancelot, King Arthur, Camelot. But seriously, this guy I think is a good guy. But he even says to me, you know, we've got to let the bygones be bygones and move forward. That is the conditioning of the socialist, Marxist, communist. We are going to forgive Joe Biden. We're going to forgive Harris. We're going to forgive Hillary Clinton. We're going to forgive all these people of Obama, of everything they've done to destroy this country. We're just going to forgive them, and we're going to move forward. No. You know, Donald Trump today in a press conference, I heard him say this, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, let me do one before that. I heard him say this about the drug dealers. Execution. Someone has so many drugs, every fentanyl dealer is killing a minimum of 500 people in their drug transactions. Execute them. We won't have that problem anymore. He was talking about his security and how Iran has made threats to him and how Secret Service is trying to work with him. And I don't trust Secret Service at all. You can obviously see there is an agenda for the DEI/DIE crowd, and we're dying. Americans are dying because of DEI, and so his Secret Service, the people that are around him, the closest, yes, they are probably the best. God bless them for diving on top of them when bullets are flying. No doubt about that. I will say that. Unbelievable people. But someone in the upper management, someone in upper leadership I'm just going to say it. They are wanting this president dead for the Democratic Party. Last week, I did all the threats of the Democrats, 18 or 20 altogether, 19, 20, something like that. All the threats from all the Ds, and different people, by the way, of how they make Trump sound like Hitler, like he's going to be a tyrant and a dictator, and how he's going to do mass deportation. Yeah, he's going to do it. But he said today, let Iran know. If he was president, by the way, he would say this to Iran. Under no uncircumstantial terms, I guarantee you, you threaten and you go after the vice president that's running for president right now, the president of the United States, me, Vance, Waltz, anyone. If I was in a presidency today, I will just annihilate your country. It will be basically a glass palace. Am I all for it? You're damn right I am. You have to fight fire with these idiots. These evil people don't know any other way. And even the idiots, the useful idiots here in America that are just saying, Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. I got to tell you something. They have no clue. They have been brainwashed. They have been conditioned. Mass media has destroyed our nation side by side with the Democratic Party. You look at The View, how nasty and ugly and hateful those 5 women are. Yes, I do believe they may have one that's supposed to be conservative, but you know what? She plays the game. I couldn't play the game. I'd have to call them out. I'd have to let them know that they're all just batshit crazy. I'm going to come up here and comments real quick. Hey, Julie, what war on drugs? Illegal and legal? They're all chemicals. Too many zombies in charge. Oh my goodness, yes, you are right. Yep, and I've been seeing this now. Get the book, The 1916 Project. I'm definitely interested in looking at what this is exactly about. I'm wondering if it's about the education. I'm leaning more towards a Marxist education. But rather than make any assumptions, I've heard a bit about it. Project, by the way, 2025 is not going down. Trump does not believe in it. And get that message out, folks. Get it out. Julie, you're going to have to write in there. Follow Under the Bus. I mean that, folks. It's I love her page. She has to have a lot of fun doing it. So I decided that I'm going to just let this go now for the moment. Health and safety policy for everyone's protection. You are required to use common sense whenever necessary. If you have none, please leave. Okay? So I'm now going to I'm going to share, believe it or not, my last piece. It's about 50 minutes long. It's about the schools, but this is very special to me because the gentleman I never heard of, the woman I've been trying to make contact with, believe it or not, for well over a year. So hopefully I'm going to be able to get them to, get her anyway, to come on here. So I definitely want you to realize that this is one of those moments where, you're going to get some good information from this for sure. I'm getting some buffering. It is the way it is right now. And let's go with this.
Okay, everybody, you're going to want to catch this.
And I'm going to pause it. Here we go. Coming back to the show, getting this to the screen.
Podcast. I've got a stack of porn in front of me, and we're going to dive into it with our very special guest. Stay tuned. You must see this episode of our Real Life podcast.
Real Life presents the Jack Hibbs Podcast with intention and boldness to proclaim truth, equip the saints, and impact our culture. Today, if this podcast lifts you up and encourages you to live a more fulfilled life in Christ, then make sure you leave us one of those 5-star ratings. To us, that's like saying amen or yes. Then that rating will encourage others to listen. Now open your hearts to what God's Word has to say to you. Here is Jack Hibbs.
Well, everybody, welcome to today's podcast. And like never before, we need to give you maybe numerous times warnings, disclaimers. The material that you are about to hear will be shocking. It will be pornographic. It will be dangerous to young ears. We are going to take on the great trending issue of how to mentally molest your children in the public school system, thereby setting them up for the day of actual physical molestation, to get them to think it's okay to go through the horrific abuse of rape in the name of education, or rape in the name of this is the way it is, or aberrant, bizarre sexuality. Let me insert this before I introduce our guest and what it all means here real quick in Scripture. Number one is, remember this, that the Bible says in the last days before Christ returns and before the world is plunged into absolute bizarre darkness, the Bible says that we will have to contend with doctrines of demons. The word doctrine means teachings of demons and spiritual wickedness. Okay? Now, for those things to manifest themselves, okay, and for invisible entities to show themselves, they use human beings. And they have humans promote their doctrine. Jesus warned us about this. The Bible warns us about this. But also this, Jesus said, if you offend a child, the littlest and the least defensive of these, it will be better for you if you would have been either drowned in the depths of the sea, or that you would have never been born, than in the day of judgment. Can I put it in modern day 21st century words? Jesus said, if you abuse a child in a child's innocence, any way, shape, or form, it would have been better for you never to have even had life itself, because I'm going to deal with you personally before the universe as a witness. Pedophiles, you name it. Child molesters, you name it. But the attack has broadened beyond what we would have thought was a once in a while crime perpetrated against a child. Now, state tax dollars, your tax dollars, federal tax dollars are funding. What I do believe is this: the resurrection of ancient pagan religions being lived out in our school boards and in our city councils and in our school board education system today, because it's always after the children, always, and it's always pornographic. It's been that way for the last 5,000 years, and you're going to see how the idols have been resurrected, how those ancient Ishtar Babylonian type idols have come back. I have with us not only a very dear friend, but I'm so happy to report to you guys for years, wherever there's a fight, if I get a call, Jack, fly here, go there, show up, quick, move, this is what's happening somewhere. When I show up, there's Karen England. She got there before I did. We have with us Karen England, who is a hero in my heart, in my mind, and in my soul. She is a warrior. She may be little, but she packs an overwhelming punch. Why? Because she is a trafficker in truth. She's all about truth. She's all about what's right. And she is out fighting for your children. And Karen England is the president of the Capital Resource Institute. And it started in California. Hey, here's some good news. It started in California, a great thing, and now it's nationally a great thing. It's throughout the nation. So Karen, welcome to the program, and we're so glad to have you. And I'm actually now going to pretty much sit back and let you do what you must do to inform people. And listen, friends, don't you dare turn this off. Make sure there's no young ears around and young eyes around. We're going to tell you things. We're going to show you things that are pornographic. And if you don't like that, if you're too saintly to handle that, and you're just going to draw your blinds while your child gets mentally molested at school, okay, there's something very wrong with you in being complicit to what is happening to your child. So why don't you just, man up for a moment, or woman up for a moment. Let's go to battle. Let's find out what your kids are learning. And the school is intent and committed to making sure you don't know what Karen is about to tell you. So Karen, let it go.
Well, thank you, Pastor Jack, for giving me the platform so that I can let parents know about this, as well as the very kind words. A lot of people have been watching on the news how parents are getting up and reading at school board meetings, the really graphic content, often too graphic to even the school board wants to stop them. One thing that parents don't know is that several years ago, over 40 states, when obscenity laws came about that considers these things obscene, state legislatures went in and they did an exemption on obscenity to public libraries, public schools, and universities. And so this stuff is perfectly legal. So a lot of times I see people go and they read the obscenity laws at the school board meeting, or I've seen a congressional representative send a letter to the school board about the obscene laws. Well, they're exempt from them.
They're protected.
Yeah, they're protected. That doesn't mean you can't remove them, but you can't remove them just because there's a law about obscenity. There's a process you have to go through. And so that's one thing that I think a lot of people are missing out there in the battle. And I think the left loves it because everyone's going down this road on the obscenity and trying to get their DA involved. And there's an exemption on this. And the left wants that. They want you focused on something else.
So, sorry, real quick.
Yeah.
These exemptions came into power by how and by whom?
State legislatures. California's is, I would have to look at the actual date of California, but Nevada, Tennessee, I mean, they're all over. Red states, blue states. Over 40 states have exemptions.
So voting matters.
Voting absolutely matters. And once they get in, I'm going to talk about how these are all over red states, not just blue states, but red states. Florida, some of these books are in Miami, Florida. People are saying, how can this be?
Oh, we've got to move out of California and go to Florida. But it's equally perverse.
Oh,
a lot of people don't know, though. They've been lulled into sleep thinking, whew, I'm out of California. And they just went from the fire to another fire, or even...
They do. And you've heard me. What happens in California doesn't stay in California, including me. And so this stuff is being transferred everywhere. And it's something that I think is really unknown because the media is so busy saying we want to ban books on race or the Holocaust. That isn't what we're trying to do. We want to curate books, and we want to make sure minors aren't accessing erotica, and our school districts are not buying these books, which they are. That's money that could go into the classroom, could go to the teacher.
But listen, before we go on, somebody might be thinking, so banning books, good, bad, we need to think about that. Let me ask you, and I ask from ignorance, I haven't checked. Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler, is that banned in schools or not?
No, it's in the schools. So are a lot of the books on how to build a bomb. So
true. So all you crazy knuckle dragging Neanderthal Christians want to do is ban books. So what they're saying is, if you're anti-Semitism is wrong, but you can read Mein Kampf.
Yeah.
We're not trying to indoctrinate your kids in sexual things, but you have to read this.
Oh, absolutely. And one of the questions I often get is, well, where are these books and are they assigned? Do kids have to read them? A lot of the AP and honors English, especially in freshman classes, these are a lot of the books that are being assigned to them. As a matter of fact, there was a red state, red county last year that the assignment was, they gave them an entire list of banned books and asked them to first to go through those and decide which ones they wanted to read and do their book report on. Now, we uncovered it and they backed up a little bit, but these were kids that were doing reports on this pornographic, this banned book thing. I want to talk about that. Do we have Playboy? Is Playboy banned? Is that a bad thing? We don't have Playboy in our public schools, nor should we. That's what this stuff is like. And you know who's the ultimate book banner? The librarian. Because you know what happens? The librarian gets books and they decide what goes in and what doesn't. But are we calling them book banners? No. It's called curating. And parents are getting a bad rap because they want to curate and they want to make sure that porn isn't right down the hall from our kids with our tax dollars. That is all these parents are trying to do. They are trying to say, hey, I don't want our kids' hearts and minds raped with this kind of information.
I hope you are really saying this. Hey, mom and dad, your kid has access to all of this stuff and they're being encouraged to read it. I know, Karen England, I know that if you hear this podcast today and what we're going to expose to you, you're going to go do something about it. You're going to go rescue your child. You're going to make a big stink at your local school or district, but you're going to get involved. I can't imagine, Karen, after you give what you're going to give, parents turning a blind eye to this.
I hope not. I know that we recently launched a website, takebacktheclassroom.com, and we are putting every single school district in the nation and a list of the books along with excerpts from the books so that we can help equip parents. Now, right now, we've got 11 states up there, but it's equally divided between red and blue. You would be shocked. These books here, every one of these books is in the reddest of red county, reddest of red state. I've confirmed it. We have it on the website. We show exactly what school district it's in. Most of these books are in most school districts. Again, we've gone through, we're every day we're adding school districts to our list. And these are common books that are in all of our libraries. This one, Push, I have to say, this has been around for about 20 years. I've got a young mom who's on staff with me who went to the high school in her local town. This was the book 10 years ago that everybody was going and checking out.
Now, what's Push? What?
Oh, Push is a really graphic book, pornographic, rape, erotica. I'm just trying to, there's so much. It's incest. I'll just do a little reading.
Please, yes. Listen, parents, remember.
Mama can't fit into the bathtub no more. Go sleep, go sleep, go sleep. It's also not very well written. I tell myself, Mama's hand, creepy spider up my leg, in my pussy. God, please, thank you, God, I say as I fall asleep. That's incest.
Yeah, that's incest. Absolutely.
And let's see. Daddy put his pee-pee smelling thing in my mouth, my pussy, but never hold me.
Yeah. So listen, people, this is what your kids are exposed to, but
I'm
you don't
12
know it.
now. I've been knowing about that since I was 5 or 6. Maybe I always known about pussy and dick. I can't remember not knowing.
There you go, public school. And this explains why our kids are idiots in the international world scene of education.
Yeah. The one, and Senator Kennedy made waves, the all boys aren't blue. This is a very common one.
Make sure everybody sees that
Yes.
book cover.
So all boys aren't blue. This is in a lot of high schools. In another red county, red state, this is in a junior high. And right before I came on this podcast, I went and I looked, and it's checked out. You can see most of these books, you can see when they're checked out. And this is checked out. Then they start reading it, and
Well, it's got to be great though, Karen, because
Yeah.
it's a New York Times
aren't they all
best-selling book here.
Yes. Yes.
And
yeah,
wow.
this one, oh yes, here we have this is yeah. They're all award winning.
Remarkable.
It's crazy.
Remarkable.
It's absolutely crazy.
So keep going. I take my kid to school, and I think the school has my child's best interest in mind, and I'll pick them up in 6 or 7 or 8 hours, and they enter the classroom on one day, and they're going to be hearing things and being taught things such as
well, let's do a new book that we've uncovered, and it's for children. This is for elementary school, and I'm going to read, I read this a little earlier, and this is just frightening. This is grooming our children. If you care about sex trafficking, you need to care about what's going on, because these books, I assure you, your local school has these, and your public library absolutely has these, whether you're a red state or a blue state. And that's why we cover red and blue states. You are not safe. And the William Wilberforce quote, after today's show, you cannot say you did not know. You cannot turn a blind eye. I'm trying to sound the alarm. Our organization will help you get these removed. So let's see. Why can't young children have sex? Again, this is a book for young children.
cartoons. Very cleverly put together.
Yes, your child may find this. This is a newer book that is just getting on the scene and in school districts, including Red County, Red State, another one of those. Why can't young children have sex? Children don't yet desire sex or sexual intercourse, and their bodies are not ready for sex. It's only later when you're a teenager, or later still as an adult, and that you feel the desire for sex. Here we go. But many kids do like to cuddle or tickle one another under the blankets. There are plenty of different ways to show affection to each other. Some children like to touch their own bodies when they are alone and feel sexual pleasure. This is fine and a good way to get to know your own body and how and where you like to be touched. These are things you can share when you are older and ready to be sexual with other people. What does this do to a young kid whose uncle's molesting them?
It's all acceptable.
Yeah, and this is a new one. So if you're in a new school, I've got a Red County where this is at a brand new school. This is just on the cutting edge. So it may not be everywhere yet, but it's on its way.
Yep.
And so that wasn't even the graphic stuff, but that was when I read that and saw it was total grooming. How harmful is that to little kids? And I can see adult perverts using that on kids, reading it, having this book.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's crazy. So yeah, I want to say, takebacktheclassroom.com. The other thing that we're doing is, because you probably don't believe all of this, and so we have free printable PDFs of all the books.
So hold that as still as you can, and Sean's going to kind of take a look at that. This is, your kids are having access to this, mom and dad, caretaker, grandma, grandpa, whoever you might be. They have access to this. And by the way, the curiosity of a child and what they're doing in school, it's going to drive them to this. And anyway.
Yeah. And so they do that. And then, just porn, there's a reason our kids are getting access to it. It's not like you're finding the magazine in a field on the way home.
Right.
It's right down the hall. It's in your public library. I mean, I can't tell you how many parents have their kids, they come home with picture books from the public library, And once they start really looking at it, they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea this was there. There's a book that's very popular in elementary schools called Bathhouse. And it's about tradition and the Asian tradition of moms and daughters, or moms and kids bathing together. And the left will say, oh, well, this is just cultural appropriation, and that's why we need to have it. Well, no, in America, when minors pick up a book and it's got adult with kids, not even all in the same family, in a big pool naked, that is not what the message kids are getting. And so I don't know why we need to be covering that in kindergarten anyway, and it's called the Bathhouse. I mean, again, they are so sly, because Satan is very crafty in how they do this. The other thing that I think is really important that we've discovered, that a lot of schools, these two authors, one is Ellen Hopkins, and these are series of books. These are books that you would not know. These are the most common everywhere. And as a matter of fact, the criticism is it's heterosexual and white. But there's a whole series of them. So
I don't know if you can see the title, everybody. It's called Tricks.
Yes. Oh, and this is the one, this is about prostitution. And I was kind of upset because they had the age of consent wrong on California. And I thought, can't the author just Google age of consent? I can't feel my mouth or nose, but other parts of my body are begging to be touched. Lucas indulges them too, in his hands and his mouth. I love how he kisses. Love how his fingers move over my body. Everything is hard. Everything is warm. I mean, I could go on.
Public school.
Public school, these are very, very common. And then this entire this entire series is in almost every single public school. And I don't think a lot of people know about those. And in all honesty, I hate to give educrats and librarians extra grace, but I think on these two, they just think it's a book and everyone's telling them to get them. And I don't think they even know on those.
Seriously.
And they're poorly written too.
That's no longer.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
That's no longer a standard.
That gets them an award, probably.
That's no longer a standard. If you walked by and you saw this book and title, there's nothing that you would think is of child perversion.
Yeah.
And grooming.
No, you wouldn't. And so again, that's why we have the PDFs. And one thing that we're doing is we are not just taking a passage. We are doing, and we show in our PDFs, beginning, middle, and end. So it's not just one rape scene. We are only covering the worst of the worst. But they're everywhere, Pastor Jack. They're everywhere in every public school. And some of these are even in elementary and middle school. And so parents, you're the only one that's going to protect your kids from this, because the schools and the librarians think these are okay. I read this book in a Red County at a school board meeting. They tried to stop me.
Yeah. Make sure everybody listen to this. Listen to this. Please grab this.
So this book is one of the most common books in school districts all over the nation. And I started to read it at a school board meeting in a Red County. And they tried to stop me from reading it. And I said, you've approved this book. This is in the school. So I don't think you want a First Amendment issue. You just don't want me reading this. And that's kind of a First Amendment issue. Still, I did this on July 25th. This book is still in the Red County, in the Red School District, and people are checking it out. That is what is going on. I cannot stress part of my passion, and Pastor Jack, when I just jumped at the opportunity to have this platform, people don't know. I know that they would start protecting their kids if they knew this was going on.
You're more hopeful than I am. I sure hope you're right about that.
You know what? They don't. A lot of people have come to me and said, I didn't know. I have to tell you, I have a mom in our school district where I live that literally I had put a packet together for her, and I wrote at the top every single school that had this book and this book and this book. She carries it in her purse. So when she's meeting with people, she's like, look, this is at this middle school, this high school, this, what, and it just, because that's what it takes. And that's why we did this, because people don't believe me. That's why going to takebacktheclassroom.com is so important, because we have the actual, if you want to hold up this one on, is that one tricks or traffic or?
Which one is this? Traffic, yeah.
Traffic, okay.
Yep.
So we show you the excerpts from the book. We show you so you can decide if you think that's appropriate for your kids or not. So if you know this and you don't go check to see if these books are in your school, then you're complicit in allowing it to be there. And you should care about the kids that are left in there that don't have engaged parents. Inner city kids, those kids are already getting a lot of the wrong messages, and
destroyed.
no one is. A lot of people ask me, my grandkids are homeschooled, why do I keep doing this? And it is very dark. No one is going to the school boards trying to help those kids. We need to stand in the gap for those kids too, not just our own pulling them out. And those kids are going to be our lawyers, our doctors, our politicians.
Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, here's the reason why I don't think so. They won't know how to spell.
That's okay, spell check.
That's true. There's always AI.
No, I mean, our politicians so far are okay with this because they haven't really done anything, have they?
In fact, I'm going to jump on what you just brought up. Here's how apathetic and dead the church and or concerned citizens are. Hey, Karen, I saw the podcast and I called our local school district and they said, well, this is our authority. This is our thing. We did this. We're the ones that are in control. And so a parent, I would think, would say, I'm exempting my kid out of this class and or whatever. They're going to turn around and say, because that kid is a dollar sign, nothing but a walking dollar sign. They're going to somehow come back to the parent and say, you can't do this. You can't expose this. You can't talk about it. You can't threaten this. Are you a Christian? Oh, separation of church and state. You're involving yourself in this. The school system, by and large, pretty much believes that they own your child once they step on the ground.
No, they do, and they think that the parents are the problem. So I love this little segue. First of all, I don't believe anything a school official tells me, even if they're wearing a WWJD bracelet.
That's right.
I hate to say it, but I have found that to be my experience.
Absolutely.
And school districts will lie. I'm convinced that superintendents and teachers go to a special counseling class that tells them how to mislead parents. The school district I was talking about that in Red County that did the banned books week, they came back and said, oh, that was a mistake. It was a first-year teacher. Go ahead.
What's the banned book weeks?
Okay. So the American Library Association, they promote Banned Books Week, and that's coming up the first week in October. And most school districts participate, and most librarians, both in the public library and the public school library, will put out a display of the banned books. And in this school district, they actually had a checklist.
So
they're encouraging you to read books.
So this is a pitch.
A total pitch.
It's a premeditated, certainly a curiosity hook. Ooh, these are banned books. Hey, you want to come and see the banned books? Yeah. Well, of course.
Well, and they're right there front and center in the library, and you'll start to see them this week. You'll see it in bookstores, you'll see it in the public library, even in the little kids section. Actually coming here, layover in Austin. Took a picture of the book, all of the book. They had several of the books in the young adult section. It's like they're everywhere. But the banned books weeks, the other thing they do is you can look on the internet, and then schools are really proud of it. They have you hold up the book, and they have this like mugshot background. Now, great question. If this is banned, how do I have it in my hand? Mm-hmm. And easily got it off.
That would take a thinking person to unpack that.
Yes, absolutely. But back to the banned books. And so the lesson for this AP English class, a pastor and a congressman found out about it, called the school. The Christian principal said, oh, we pulled the lesson. It was on a first-year student, blah, 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 blah. So I sent out an email saying, victory, we exposed this. First email back to me said they didn't change the lesson. They just removed the list of books off the website, off the Google Doc, and they removed one book. They then told a school board member that, oh, hey, no, none of the banned books were read. And I was telling this board member, yes, they were. We had long back and forth. And I'm like, you can believe me or you can believe them. But I'm telling you, it is not. And if I do a public records request, we're going to have kids that did book reports on the banned books. 2 months later, he finally came back to me and said, "You're right." So I said, so what is the consequence for them telling the entire public, sending out an email, telling a congressman, telling a pastor that this lesson was pulled? What is the consequence?
Removal from office.
Well,
removal
that's
from
what I would
authority
think. But of course,
immediately.
absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not even a file in this teacher. This is a red county in a red state.
But 20 parents could show up to a board meeting and say, this Christian principal lied to us, and we want him immediately extracted by the Navy SEALs if necessary.
Well, yes, and of course, you know me, Pastor Jack, I did it. And it was interesting because when I went to the school board meeting and I was going to talk about it, he was there getting some, awards with kids, and I felt the need as a believer. I went up to him, and it's the first time I met him, my husband knew him, and I said, I need you to know that I'm going to be talking about you when I get up there. And so I was like, you just need to know, because you lied. Now, whether he was lied to, I don't know. But I know the public was lied to, and he's the ultimate.
He's the authority.
Exactly. And so I don't say it lightly when I say that I just don't believe school districts anymore, and you can't. And it's an easy stick your head in the sand if you do. You need to really look into this.
Shouldn't parents just start adopting across all these 50 states? Shouldn't parents just start adopting some sort of a routine where, hypothetically, let's just pick on Los Angeles, that some concerned parents, let's say there's 100 of them. The school board is what, once a month?
Twice
a month? Couldn't out of the 100 of them say, hey, you take these dates, I'll take these dates, you take these dates, and we start auditing these meetings. And we just sit there, we're quiet. We either record or we write, and we start now making this information public. If somebody did that, it's not going to take many people.
No, absolutely. I will tell you that we were able to get 2 books removed in our local school district, and we had to go through the process. But the good news on that is the process stinks, and almost every state has and school district has a really bad process, that the same people that put these books in are the ones that decide if they're appropriate or not.
How convenient.
So we have a policy, and at takebacktheclassroom.com, we have a Remove Porn in Schools toolkit, where we talk about the obscenity laws. We talk about there are First Amendment issues, so you have to be careful with what you challenge so you don't end up in court. And we have a model policy that legal has approved. And our first school district, I'm not going to share where yet, but our first school district will be passing that in in October. What that policy says is the minute a book is challenged, it's immediately removed by the principal, and within 45 days, the school board has to have a hearing on it. So let's say 10 are removed, they schedule a hearing. If I read this and I find out a school board member votes to keep this in a school with 14-year-olds, I'm running someone for office to get them out of office.
That's great campaign stuff.
Absolutely.
Let them own it, tie it around their neck.
Absolutely. And that is why we're really pleased with the policy. We wrote and worked with some legal counsel on the specific policy, because most of them, they have a committee, and it includes the principal and teachers, and it's all in secret. And that's what the American Library Association wants. So again, our toolkit has a model policy. You can adapt it for your local school district, no matter what state you're in. We want to help you. That's the way to get this exposed, get these off the shelves when they're challenged. And you know what? People are going to challenge the Bible. The left is going to come in and challenge the Bible. Well, you know what? First of all, I don't think our kids are running in there reading the Bible. But secondly, if it means getting rid of this smut, I'm okay if a Bible isn't in the public school library.
Oh yeah, no problem with that.
Yeah.
No problem with
so
that at
again,
all.
I want to know that school board member too that says, yeah, let's get the Bible out. You know, they'll come in and say, oh, Song of Solomon. Yeah. So
well, in California, we've become real big fans. It took us too long to wake up to this, but when some lunatic legislator has an idea and thinks that this should be a bill, we're really big on having everybody know, hey, see that gal, see that guy? They're the inventor of XYZ sex bill. And we will not stop blowing that horn, because it's 100% biblical. Somebody might be thinking, oh my goodness, I thought this was a Christian podcast. Yeah, it is. Real Christianity in 2 Corinthians 10:6 says, by our obedience to Christ, we're to punish all disobedience of evil that is around us. And you don't see that happening anymore. Although, thank God for people like you here in England and what you're doing. What's next? You've got so much stuff.
Well, the other one that I want to talk about that really isn't on any lists, and this is one that we were able to get taken out of the school in a red county in a red state. Wow. But this is common. This is a newer one. But the scary thing with this book is, and this again, they always get one step ahead of us. So at the end of every chapter, there are QR codes. Now, when you go to this QR code, it takes you to a Planned Parenthood site. A lot of them, like on the how to have trans sex, takes you to a site where you have to say you're 18, and it is some of the just disgusting pornographic stuff.
Like what?
Like strapped on body parts. I mean, full on having sex, naked bodies.
This is for kids.
Yeah, for kids.
This is for your kids.
Then we all know in this digital, and again, they're crafty because again, parents aren't going in, and the Lord has been so good in just when He just will tap me and say, "Get that book." Like, why are these QR codes? And then I started to go through them. And by the way, at Kitchen Table Activist, our Instagram and all of that, you can see we actually did a video showing where you go to the page, you go to this. But every one of these takes you to a Planned Parenthood site. It takes you, like on the one on...
Isn't it funny? It's an educational book found in the public school system, steering your child to Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
What could possibly be the connection between what they're being taught? Notice this. Hey kids, you got to read this book because we think it's great. And oh, by the way, if you read it and do it, you're going to need Planned Parenthood.
Yes, absolutely. So you go to these, but here's the thing, and we know this, anyone that has ever been on Facebook and all of a sudden something you're talking about, and then all of a sudden all these Facebook ads start showing up, sure. Or you've Googled something. The way this one works, this goes through the author's QR codes. So when your child scans this, they are then going to be targeted with additional ads, with additional porn, with additional information on this. This one of the chapters on transitioning tells you how to get chest binders, where you can go without parents knowing. I mean, everything is in here. Here's the thing. They're after our kids, Pastor Jack, and you've heard them, especially this last year, whether it's the drag queens or at the gay pride parades, we're after your kids. Are we going to believe them?
Really, exactly. Why don't we believe them? They are so brazen, and they're banking on the parent not caring, yeah. and acting.
Well, because they haven't, and really until COVID, now we see this wave, and it's funny and not funny.
Yeah,
but
thank God for COVID in that.
Well, it is, and we see all of these people that are fighting about the sex ed and how graphic it is in California. Well, that's been around since 2015. And there were only 3 groups, Real Impact, our group, that opposed that bill when we were trying to tell everyone, hey, this is going to mean anal sex in elementary school. This is going to mean this. And people just thought we were crazy.
That's right.
And that it was all hyperbole. And so please take this seriously. These are our kids. You cannot unrape their mind. And some of these are well written, and that's where it does imprint. And I was reading about erotica because this falls under kind of the erotica. The thing that is erotica is a little bit different than some of the ones with the pictures, the actual picture porn. It leaves a lot to imagination, and you start to visualize. Yes. And I was reading how bad that is for teens, especially early on when they're developing their worldview on sex and all of that.
Absolutely.
And again, it's natural for kids to be curious about their body, to be curious about their feelings. You pile this stuff on, we are going to have one messed up generation. And we wonder why kids are committing suicide. We wonder why kids are assaulting other kids. We're reading about that more and more in school. We wonder why there's sexual assaults in school.
Wow. You know what? So every man knows, I don't care what worldview you have. I don't care what party, animal, donkey, elephant, what state, blue, it doesn't matter. Every man knows that the first time in some way, shape, or form he saw something he ought not to see, he knew it. He knew he should not be seeing this. And the second thing is, He never looked at any female the same after that, ever. Now, I don't know how it is for females. I don't plan on becoming one because even if I tried, I can't. But for a guy, there's a day that he sees something and forever his mind works different. And I challenge every man that's watching this right now. You can lie and post against what I just said all you want. You are an absolute liar if you contradict what I'm saying. Every guy knows it.
Yeah.
Few will admit it. But when you see that picture, which is why it's important to them to have these illustrations, it forever changes, at least the boy. I can only come from the guy's
No,
side.
and I will tell you, the field story was my husband, and he will tell you and how he remembered it. I also have 2 boys, so obviously we've had these conversations, and you're right. I will say my husband often says, Karen, where are the men fighting this? And I'm like, I don't know, but until they do, I've got to keep doing it.
Maybe they don't want to.
Well, yeah, and I mean it's a very dark. It's on the days when because I choose to do all the going through and highlighting these, and I don't want any other young mind that to have to go through this. I mean, until the Lord gives another person and it's really clear that, because it's dark. There was a day I did 15 hours when we launched our website of just highlighting. It was just so disgusting. Couple of things I want to leave everybody with are some new statistics. So 12 years is the average age for exposure to pornography. I'm sure that's getting younger. This is a study done 2 years ago. 15% of the respondents reported seeing online porn before the age of 10. We also know that when that's happening, they then need to go see it again or more. 75% of kids at age 17 have viewed pornography. 52% reported seeing violent pornography, including media that depicts what appears to be rape, choking, or someone in pain.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
These books have rape, choking, all throughout them. And they're in our public schools, and they're being purchased with your tax dollars.
Yep. Isn't it amazing, Karen, that and forgive me because I'm not sure about the term, is it virtual signaling or something else, where the very purveyors of this stuff will yell and scream about women's rights, protecting women. They scream and holler about the atrocities. Child Protection Agency needs to get involved regarding this kid. This kid broke his finger on the swing set. Oh my gosh, they just send up skyrockets of warning and all. But that's what they say over here. And all the Christians and conservative and the moralist runs over here, and they're all focused at this while they take the 90% of the field and run with the ball.
Yep.
While we're over here trying to figure out what foot is left or right. And the perversion, notice, again, I mentioned it earlier. I believe, based on the Bible, that it begins and ends in religion. Perversion, all pagan worship practices outside of Christianity and Judaism have child perversion. It's focusing on the child. And all of the ancient religions that were responsible for such horrific rape, murder of children to their gods are starting to resurface. It's hard for us to believe this. But if you read the practices of Babylonian worship systems, you'll be shocked to find out that it's exactly what it is happening here. How to worship Diana. It doesn't say say how to worship Diana, but it tells you how to worship Diana.
Yeah.
These are spiritual issues because we were created in the image of God, and Satan hates that, and he hates kids.
And they're biblical issues. And this idea that Satan isn't in red states is just crazy. Where do you think he's, he's kind of done he's done his work in California. So this idea that they're not, where a Christian principle might be, where do you think he really is going?
Yeah.
I often like to listen to the Screw Tape letters because it just is such a good reminder. I listen to that audiobook and it's like, wow, if I wanted to, this is exactly how I would get that generation. And then I wanted to mention that this one, women and Christian women, romance novels. That's kind of become a big thing, and that's these books. This author is in most school districts, but
Sarah Moss.
yes, and it's a whole series. I don't know. There's probably 10 or 12 books. They're all bad. Oh, okay. Masterful storytelling from a #1 New York Times bestselling author brings her sexy, action-packed series to new heights. Why is this?
For kids.
For kids. But it's hooking girls now more and more because it's got these kind of, and that's the plan to do that. So I just hope that parents will reach out to us. We want to help you get the policy passed. You can get these books removed. Like I said, reading them, which is why we did the PDFs, is the best thing to do, where you've got the proof, and that's why I hate to give these people money by purchasing these books, but I feel like it's really, it's the only way.
Yes,
it's the only way that we're going to be able to push back with truth and not be discredited by saying, oh, that's not really in that book. It's hard to defend this stuff.
Yeah.
So you go read this.
Yep.
Those people, you don't want them by your children that are okay with this.
We have a couple of minutes left. I want you to answer these questions for the people. I'm the people on the other side of the camera. What can I do about it? Number 2 is there any way for me to amass a group or somehow connect in my community with like-minded parents who want to do something about it? The third thing is, what is it in ending? How can you shock us into action? So
you want more reading from me, Pastor Jack?
I got enough. We have enough from you. I want them.
Yeah.
But
well, a couple of things. Yes, you can actually get this stuff removed, and our organization will help you. You can join with other parents. We will do Zoom calls. We will help you on the law, no matter what state you're in. I can navigate, what your personal laws are on this. Like I mentioned, Florida, everybody was shocked when they found out this stuff was in Florida this last week, a bunch of these books, because they're just assuming, because they believe what they're seeing on TV. But if you aren't actively going in and getting this stuff removed and holding these people accountable to some of the laws, this stuff is there, and we've seen it too. Teachers' unions are pushing back. And so we want to help the parents. We will put you with like-minded people. I will testify at a school board meeting. Like you said, I like to go and show up for whatever reason.
You always beat me to every fight I show up at.
I love school board meetings. I love staying up till 1:30 in the morning. I watch them on TV. That's the other thing. Moms and dads can watch school board meetings and figure out what's going on. You can have it on the TV. I watch school board meetings all over the country. You're cooking dinner, school board meetings on while I'm cooking dinner. And so you can find out where your school board members stand and what's going on. And it's really easy with technology to be a kitchen table activist. And so you can do it. And all I can say is these numbers about how young our kids are accessing porn, and that now porn is right down the hall of the local school when you drop your kid off. How can you drop them off and not do something knowing there's porn in that building? Mm-hmm. Really, honestly, that is a serious question. How can you be complicit in this when you drop them, knowing it's in there? And that even if your kid isn't going to access it, some other innocent child is going to have their mind raped by it.
We're going to make sure that at the end of this program that you can click on the link in the descriptions there for you to connect with everything that Karen is saying. I know this has been a really serious and heavy podcast. However, it must be. We are at war. Your children, as it has been throughout history, if it's Pharaoh or if it's Herod, or Zeus or Diana, the children are the targets. Of course, that's because Satan wants to destroy. If he can destroy kids, he's got the culture. I think it was Fidel Castro who said something, if I have the children by the age of 5, I've got them for the rest of their lives, something to that effect. Years ago, Karen showed me some of the things that were in some of the books, and they were cartoons, but they were extremely well done by way of quality, detail. And they were telling kids what to do. And I have to tell you that I grew up in a non-Christian home in a very sexually charged age in the 60s and 70s. And my perverted mind had never even thought of those things.
Yeah.
I was shocked. And it's almost like what Mike Huckabee said about the bathroom bill. Remember, if a boy can use a girl's bathroom. And he was serious, but he made us laugh when he said, gosh, when I was 15, I was trying to think of a way how I could sneak a peek in the girls' shower and locker room. So, we'd kick the ball accidentally through the doorway. And now the state of California or the state of Colorado or Florida is saying, hey, you can just walk on into the bathroom. That kind of stuff. Why? I want to ask you, why do you think this is happening? And woe, and I mean this, woe to the Christian who turns their eye away from this. You are absolutely derelict while on duty. The Bible says if we know that something is sin and we do not do anything about it, we're going to be judged for that. Yep. This is our moment, and we're going to be making these things always more public. I'm already thinking in my mind, Karen, maybe this Sunday, maybe in a couple of Sundays, the timing, I'll get together to ask you when will be the best effect. But even before I teach the sermon, I want to be able to have Sean and his graphics team put up on our big screens. I want people to see these. And I want to say something in 3 to 5 minutes about how you must know and become familiar with these books, because your kids they're learning all about them. And instead of your child being able to compete with the European kids in math or engineering or chemistry or biology, your kids cannot. They're not being taught. See if your kid can spell or read or think use critical thinking skills. What are they learning about world history? Where was the Vietnam War fought, for example? Do they know the answer to that? Is the earth flat or round? What's the truth of the sciences? What can we know? No. The American child is not learning that stuff. They're learning this. And I conveniently have this in a pile, it turns out. And I'm thinking about if you like it or not. I sound like Gavin Newsom. You're going to do it.
You need more hand motions.
You're going to do it if you like it or not. Well, you know what? God is going to someday take this stuff, and before he burns it, according to the scriptures, those who have perpetrated these evils against children, their eternity doesn't fare well for them.
And nor should it.
Nor should it. And it won't. You want to know why? Because the God of the Bible is just. And he will bring justice. Right? Everybody wants to talk about justice. Are you sure? Because the God of all righteousness is going to bring justice. So once again, listen, if you would go to the link and the subscription, share this everywhere you can. We've got to come back and do this again because it's just too much. And I know you've got so much more. And I have to tell you, this is the most subdued I've ever seen Karen. She's usually the mama bear for you, but now the fight is so big. She needs you. She needs us. So
absolutely. And Pastor Jack, it's a little hard to come, get really animated about porn with Pastor Jack. So yeah, but I will come to a school board meeting. I'm there to help protect the kids. And so use me, use our organization. We exist for this. We want to help this stuff. You've got the American Library Association, George Soros. The other side is so much funding. You've got the teachers union. We want to come alongside because parents want to do something. They just don't know how.
They're not organized.
Yeah, and we want to help.
So the website is?
TakeBackTheClassroom.com. You can get our toolkit. You can see the books there. If your school district isn't on there yet, it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of resources. We're adding new school districts, new states, and new books every single week. So check back if the book isn't there, or contact us and we'll help you research your district and get it up online.
Awesome. Absolutely. So listen, we believe that it's time for us to live out, right, what we believe in. It's time for real life, and this is it. So God bless you guys. We'll catch you next time.
This Jack Hibbs podcast, as well as all the broadcast outreach opportunities, are listener supported. Will you consider partnering with us through a special gift? Go to jackhibbs.com to learn more and stay connected.
You know, folks, I want to thank each and every one of you first. I really do. We've made a lot of friends with one another over the internet, over social media. I reach out. There's Ross out in Philly I just talked to a couple days ago. So I had the opportunity to hook up with Dean for a moment last night. I mean, to know that everyone is well, to know that everyone is struggling, wanting answers, thinking of how to make that change. You're not going crazy. I did take my shirt off. Had the moment to relax. But you know, we can't stop. And every hour, every hour that I do this personally, that I'm involved in it to some degree or another, be it through a daytime, I might have 4 hours or 5 hours of thought. That's actually not true. I got a lot of thoughts all day long. And I know you all do. I'm nobody, technically. And many of us even say to ourselves sometimes, you know, who are we? You know, who's going to listen? Well, minds change from planting that seed. It takes that one seed to plant. And if you just get one person every day, I've got a way to reach out right now to this Matthew Allen Rogers, not to harass him, to say, yo, man, what's going on? Seriously. How is it that you can laugh about our current state of affairs? You know, is it me that you're laughing at? Because if it's me, I'm okay with that. I mean, hell, I laugh at myself all the time. That's the only way I kind of keep my own sanity. Friends of mine have asked me, why do I do this? I do this for therapy. I don't have to go somewhere. I have all you wonderful people that back us up with some information. Kimberly Gallagher, thank you. Ruth Albee, thank you so very much. Julie Ringer, Mrs. Ringer, ding, 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 ding. You are all over it. And I mean, under the bus, backing up over it. I mean, you're fantastic. I love your contributors. You've got many good people. And folks, I'm not just saying that. I really mean that. You know, we are family. We're friends. We're family. And you put it together, we're family. And you know, I do this because more than anything, the few people that do come in weekly that I get to see, sometimes it's a hit and miss. We have busy schedules. I get it. But you know what? We talk throughout the rest of the week too. Sometimes we can do video calls. Sometimes we make phone calls. Sometimes we make emails, whatever. Or we just share. And that's the whole thing, is sharing the information out, getting it out to these people. Right now, we are in a very, 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 very dismal state of affairs. We haven't even begun to hit rock bottom. We're getting there, and we're getting there quickly. November 5th will probably be... I'm going to tell you, November 5th, I will most likely be up the whole night. You heard that right. I will probably be up the whole night. I cannot foresee what I saw back in 2020 or 2019, you know, with this election, 2020. It was just absolutely horrible to think that overnight, the election was stolen from our president. And yes, I believe that. A couple of you may not, but I do. And I know how they did it. I know, and we know why they did it. We were lied to. They were lied to. The propaganda machine of mass media. Get this out, folks. I'd be very honored if people are coming on to watch me. Great. I think that's awesome. But really, it's not to listen to what I've got to say, but really, some of the people I get on here and some of the stuff I do share, I hold very close to my heart. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you so very much. Let's see. Hosea 4:25, Amplified Bible 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge of my law, where I reveal my will. Because you, the priestly nation, have rejected knowledge, I will also reject you from being my priest. Since you have forgotten the law of your God, I will also forget your children. That's a hell of a sacrifice. It's a hell of a sacrifice, folks. I will to will by his will. It's a prayer I say pretty much almost every day at some point in the day. Sometimes I actually do miss it, but I will to will by his will. And Ruth said, I just took some food to a friend. I share what I have. And you know, a kind gesture like that, you don't even know. Ruth, I can feel the warmness that person's eating some good nourishing food, the company that you are. I've spoke with you so many times. I call you Aunt Ruth. Many friends of ours call one another, but we call you Aunt Ruthie. I mean, we know. You do those things, and you do it out of the goodness of your heart. Julie says Trump will win. Trump has to win. If he does not win this war, the United States is going to go batshit absolutely crazy. It's going to be so f***ed up you're not going to even realize. We're going to go into such a economic collapse. We're going to go into a food shortage collapse. It's going to be hell. And I'm not saying I'm a seer or what do they call that, a prophet or a psychic, but it really doesn't take a genius to figure these things out. There's going to be a lot of people paying high prices. Suicides are going to be off the chain. People are just going to say, I can't live like this. How am I going to make it? Especially the middle class, lower middle class, down to the poor people. It's going to be savagery. People are going to go savage. I met a guy a couple weeks ago, September 8th or 9th, something like that. I think it was 8th. I mean, I've been wanting to get this guy on. He's a Frenchman from the Ivory Coast of Africa, blah, blah, blah. And I mean, I hit one of his videos real hard. Brash, brazen, bold. I do what I do. I poke the bear. And he comes back immediately with, I just as soon as shoot your chicken ass, blah, 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 blah. And he's laying there in big rubber boots with, showing his AK-47 or AR-15 or whatever the hell he's got. And you know what? Democrats are equipped also. Don't think they're not. Voter Georgia has proof it was stolen. Yeah, there's no doubt. And we all should do this. We all should be taking more of an active role in all of this. And Kimberly, you said God will be our protection. God is our protection. And when our time is to come, ain't no stopping it. It's our time to go. Ben says, the democratic process has been subverted twice now successfully. There is nothing to indicate that America will win the election. And I fear that, and Ben, God bless you, by the way, folks, Ben and I, we're on a mission for the American Public Trust Association. He's doing his thing abroad. I'm doing my thing here. And the bottom line is we're coming together. We want to help people. Kind of like Karen said, Karen England in that last video said, take back the classroom.com, give us a call, we'll help you out, blah, blah, blah. That's what we have to do. We have to connect one another. We have to match up, pair up. We have to reach out. We have to, We have to be bigger than what's happening right now, and it's hard to do because their numbers are big. And it seems like Satan's numbers, the numbers of the evil in this world, are much, much, much larger. I have friends that are pagans, by the way. I don't challenge their spirituality, just so long as we don't do anything weird. I'm not going to have them cut off a chicken head and have it run around my house, nor am I going to let them watch them have sex with goats or any other weird thing. No. But I do know pagans, the wicked people. There's good and bad. They'll even tell you some people will do the good, some people do the bad. I'm not one to judge, because ultimately they do have to stand in front of the Lord. Ultimately they do have to come to countenance with God. And really, you know, I've heard everything from one sin's no worse than another sin. But you know what? Sin is sin. And I do believe that there are some sins that are worse than other sins. I think sins against our children has got to be the epitome, the highest. I can't even imagine why a child would have to read these books in high school if they've already been traumatized as children, because to me it would only bring back those memories. It would only anger them, frustrate them, make them go off the rails, make them have that hatred in their heart that they've got to go after these people that did this. And since they can't get their uncle because he's dead, since they can't get their aunt because she's moved away out of state, they're going to go after their classmates that are teasing them, what have you. We've got to get involved. We've got to stick tight, and more than anything, we've got to pray and just realize God's got this. God does have this. And, Julie, you and I are on, believe it or not, you and I are on the same page. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And, my very last line of this document that I wanted to read another whole document to you, but I've realized the time's getting there. But my very last line here, Julie, believe it or not, when you know one's self, you can conquer the fears within. And fear is false evidence appearing real. Because that's what we're seeing. We're seeing false evidence. It looks real. And that's why these people are literally brainwashed. So I'm going to hit back here one more last time. Last but not least, I said this earlier, you're going to love this. I hope you're going to like this. I know I like it. I got to do it. I have to say it. In short, you have to keep your Bible close, and in this day and age, really when you get down to it, got to keep your gun closer. On the left, you'll read, it says, a proud supporter of gun controls. This is a gun-free home. And on the right door, well, I think it's self-explanatory. So you've got to ask yourself this question. Which is safer from home invasion? The door on the left or the door on the right? I'll tell you what, I have a feeling the door on the right is the way to go. And when they start taking away our guns, and believe me, it's coming, or they're going to try, folks, it's going to be chaos. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be hectic. It's going to be horrible. And all I can say is stand your ground. I think Julie said it very well earlier in one of her messages. I believe it was a national stand out. We have to stand out. So if you know a Democrat in your neighborhood that supports Biden and Harris, and you see a couple of illegals down the street, you kindly give them a piece of paper with the address of that person, maybe the name even, and you pass it on and say, this person loves you. This person wants you in our country. This person will give to you. And you send every illegal you can to every house that has a Biden and Harris sign on it. Straight up. I think that was ingenious, Mr. Police Officer or Sheriff. I think you're a genius. You're absolutely right. They want to take care of them, let them take care of them. I'll choose who I bring into my home to take care of. And believe me, I've got people that I do like to take care of. Much like Miss Ruth, who took some food to a friend. We all have those people. Value those people. They're priceless. And I mean that. They are priceless. The love you give to them and what you share with them cannot ever be matched. So, thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon next week. Start of a new month. A couple days before my birthday we'll be on. So, anyway, well wishes to all of you. Have a great week. Keep the faith. And just know that it's got to get better. Although we know it can get worse. It's got to get better, even though we know it can get worse. Peace out.